Animal welfare and slaughter practices have dominated headlines for weeks now due to the expose by Four Corners on abattoirs in Indonesia. Now activists are hoping to direct public outrage towards a new target, the commercial harvest of kangaroos. Sarah Dingle reports, but first a warning that some viewers may find images in this story disturbing.
At the Royal Mail pub in Melbourne, Wednesday night is roadkill night. By far the biggest hit is the kangaroo.
Yeah, it was really, really tender. I was expecting a lot more tougher meat, but it was really, really nice.
There's a sweetness about it that's hard to compare to any of the other meats.
We get a mixed response to the concept of roadkill. It's obviously a play on words and it's something fun. We think that kangaroo is a fantastic food to eat. It's in an abundant supply in Australia. It's a beautiful meat to work with. It tastes good and it has some excellent health benefits.
In Sydney, a very different crowd has gathered at a fundraiser for animal welfare group Voiceless. Among the guests are Voiceless founder and gallery owner Brian Sherman and his son-in-law, ecologist Dr. Dror Ben-Ami.
Definitely don't eat kangaroo meat because not saving the environment, you're only killing Australian wildlife.
A year ago, Voiceless established the research unit Think at the University of Technology, Sydney, specifically to oppose the commercial kangaroo harvest, with Dr. Ben-Ami as its lead scientist. The creation of Think under an animal welfare banner has sparked a major scientific blue.
We think that a lot of the information about the industry is misrepresented and not researched thoroughly.
If a group like that were actually based in my university, in the University of New South Wales, we would be having a very serious think about whether they actually belong there.
When the hour is upon us.
This year, the national quota for the commercial harvest of kangaroos is set at around 3.7 million animals. But Dr. Ben-Ami fears the real toll may be much higher.
No, you will not be alone.
We estimate that up to 1 million dependent young are killed inhumanely every year as a result of the kangaroo industry.
Now, where do those numbers come from?
Well, those numbers come from industry statistics in the sense of how many females are killed every year, and from behavioral and reproductive ecology knowledge about how many young each female will have.
There is an effort made by the shooters, they're aware of this issue, to try to shoot males and avoid females.
There are, in fact, no industry figures on how many joeys are killed. Their main protection is the commercial shooter's licence, which bans the hunting of females with dependent young. Adult kangaroos are shot by night and driven to chillers the next day for processing, leading to another of Think's major concerns, the hygiene of the meat.
How far down it's cut?
In early 2009, Animal Liberation collected samples from unlocked outback chillers, which tested positive for E. coli and salmonella. Several months later, major export destination Russia slapped a ban on kangaroo meat, citing contamination fears.
If one ate kangaroo meat with high levels of E. coli, you'd have an upset stomach. That would be the case with most people.
Animal Liberation went on to set up new lab tests of supermarket kangaroo meat. Dr. Ben-Ami says the findings are concerning.
The results have shown very high levels of E. coli, above alert levels of 1,000 colony-forming units, and also a couple of samples came back positive for salmonella.
There are hundreds of different kinds of E. coli, but only some can be toxic. These tests didn't establish whether the E. coli here was dangerous.
A large study done some years ago that looked at over 200,000 carcasses found, in fact, that the rates of rejection for contamination of kangaroo calf carcasses were actually considerably less than those for sheep. The entire sheep carcass.
Dr. Rosie Cooney and her colleagues believe when it comes to the commercial harvest of kangaroos, the science is now under siege.
And no matter what they are set or whatever harvest is occurring...
This has spurred them into action, with a national group of scientists about to publish a critique of Think's claims. This group says the research proves there's great environmental benefit in encouraging farmers to harvest kangaroos for profit.
They're then going to want to value those animals, keep them on their land, and importantly, maintain the habitat, the native vegetation for those creatures as well.
We're taking a native animal out of its natural habitat in great numbers every year and thinking that that has no ramifications, and I think that's absurd.
Dr. Ben Armi isn't backing down. Think has today released a new paper arguing against the kangaroo harvest on animal welfare grounds. Their key claims that shooters are missing the mark and joeys are being left to die.
If they published their own papers, refereed their papers themselves, didn't quote real experts in the field, we would be very uncomfortable if they were operating in UNSW.
My response is they should write back and engage in academic dialogue rather than smearing.
Kangaroo sausage, the kangaroo comes from the Flinders Ranges in South
With both sides claiming the science is on their side, the challenge for animal welfare groups is to get kangaroos off the menu.
We're probably the only country in the world that eats their coat of arms and enjoys it. It's a bit of fun, but it's also really tasty, and it makes sense to eat these animals that are in an abundant proportion in our country.